Welcome, everybody. For those watching the VOD, we're just jumping in. I'm working on UV maps for the deep elves. So we'll be working on that here for a couple hours. Started a little bit later than I wanted to. Got busy with stuff, and then kind of got distracted. So now we're here. So not exactly when I wanted to stream. I was going to start a little bit earlier, but hey, at least we made it. Just trying to get these to like look a little bit better, and then I'm gonna check with like a little checker pattern here, but that does look pretty good. See if I can load up my other map here. Oh, that's the wrong one. So one tough thing about doing unwraps is that a lot of times your UVW maps are kind of a cascade, right? You move one vert and it impacts multiple faces. So a lot of this is getting this nudge to a point where it looks pretty good, with minimal impact on each next section, right? To not have any stretching and whatnot. So it does take a little bit of finesse to kind of get these into the right spot, so that way it looks good overall. Hey, let's try. The goal is going to look as flat as possible on the model without stretches, I assume. The goal of, yeah, it's, well, I mean, again, because each vertice impacts, you know, each UV affects the very next UV. So, and in terms of like the coloring and how you want that to work is the closer to this color blue, the better. The darker blue means it's too squished, and then the lighter it is, the more red it is, it means it's more pulled apart, right? So a lot of this is trying to get a similar color across the board, right? So the more you get it to that blue color, you know, the better. But it can be kind of tricky to, because again, if I pull these over here to get this stuff more blue, all of a sudden now I'm affecting other things, right? So it is a very much a balancing act between, you know, making sure that certain UVs are not stretching over others, right? And then for this one, like, I have the chain link on here just to kind of check. I mean, our UVs stretch really, really bad on these parts of the character. There's not really a way that I can fix that. It's just the way that they were unwrapped. Because if I switch this over, let me jump over here. So if I grab her torso UVs, right? Actually, I should do this. There we go. So, and then I'll switch my image. So here's our guides for our armor bits, right? You can see, like, I've got these little edges right here, or these little edges right here, you know, and that fits with, like, where the elbow is and stuff. So you, I can, let's see, this over to, here we go. So you can see, like, here it says elbow, right? And I have my little elbow there. It says elbow here, so that's kind of where those are located, right? For these UVs. The problem is that I have to align them with what's already here. So these lines and stuff are kind of like not set in stone, but like where I kind of have to anchor parts as close as I can kind of get them, because when I do a texture for something, let's say like the bracer, right? The bracer has to fit between this edge here and this edge here. These edges in between are kind of, you know, this does not have to align perfectly. Like these edges don't have to be here. It's basically based on whatever looks best, right? You know, so if I can get these feeling a little bit better, you know, in terms of like their colors and stuff, great. But one of the issues that we have with our characters is that when this layout was chosen, and this was prior to me getting here, and this was decisions made long ago that we're just living with, you know, that some of the unwraps and stuff weren't quite done to where the texel density, and that's all, texel density refers to like these little squares. There is a drastic difference between certain parts of the body, so it's kind of baked into the cake now. You know, all these other races have been made, all these other textures have been made, all these armors have been made, which means we can't really make adjustments to a lot of that stuff. We can kind of play in between certain anchor points, but those decisions have already been made. So it's kind of now up to, you know, playing within the bounds that are there. There's not a lot I can do about that, you know. There would have been some greater different choices that I would have made for some of the unwrapping and stuff, in my opinion. But I also think that this is not a bad system setup. I just feel like there are limitations here that we just have to deal with, you know. But that's like every MMO project, so that isn't any different from, you know, there is legacy things that we will just have to handle, and we'll have to work around those. So that's all. It's neither good nor bad. It's just, you know, much like in code, there's a thing called technical debt, right? This is kind of art debt, where we're just going to have to do it this way, and there's not really a better way to do it. So. Does a lot of that stem from trying to use the same textures on directly different models like ogres and gnomes? Yes. I mean, some of the stretching stuff is unavoidable. Because this is we are doing an all-in-one armor solution, right? For the fact that if I make an armor for a gnome and I make an armor that can be applied to an ogre, right? But again, it's kind of like the thought behind doing the UV layouts the way that they were done. There was a little bit of like the tech. Once again, I come back to the textile density of the arms versus the chest and that sort of stuff. Like, there was not enough UV space given to the legs and arms comparative to the chest. Like, the amount of pixels devoted to this area is actually larger than what's devoted to the arms and the legs. And so the textile density is way off. It is dramatically off between those parts. I think if it would have been a little bit more, you know, pre-thought out, we might have been able to build those a little bit more, you know, synchronous with the amount of pixels used for the arms, the legs, and the torso, and kind of use and figure out a way through that. So, there are some areas where we could have made better choices for sure. But I do feel like this is an adequate setup. You know, it'll let us do what we needed to do. You know, it's just not perfect. And I'm very much a perfectionist, so for me it's one of those things where it's like, ooh, this could have been so much better if, but, you know, it is what it is. It's fine. Like I said, this is a system that we can use. It functions, right? It'll do what we need it to do. It's just not perfect, so. And again, it's just minor inconveniences, really, and some small opportunities where things could have been just a smidge cleaner, you know, overall. But like I said, the system works. I mean, it's not like it's unusable. You know, it's functional. It'll hit 98% of our target, so, you know, 95, 98, that's fine. That's an acceptable amount, right? So. yeah, earlier I was messing with, like, how could I have done the unwraps a little bit differently to, like, test some stuff out. I can show you what I had kind of come up with. I don't know if this would have been the best way either. This is just something I kind of was doing really quickly on the fly, right? So it's not exactly a, it's not exactly perfect, but it's something we could have done a little bit differently to try to hit the style and make sure things were all together. I'm still not happy with what I did with the skirt. I still have to figure out possibly a better way to get that set up. Actually, as a matter of fact, yeah, it might have worked that way. In any case, this is kind of what I was thinking. So our unwraps right now are not this, but it's kind of using the same thing that we have. So if I pull up our unwraps here, this is just something that I was thinking about. Using our current system in the way that it was, I probably would also switch out kind of like where stuff is, but you can kind of see like we have this back, we have this chest, you know, skirt, thigh, all that sort of stuff, right? And basically I kind of kept the arm and everything kind of where it was. And then, again, don't mind the fact that, where did I put it? What the hell? There we go. So, like, you can see, like, I think what I would do, and again, I was kind of throwing this together, this skirt edge would be here, so that way the front of my skirt would kind of have at least an edge that would be similar to this. And I'd probably cut this exactly kind of how I cut this, just in reverse, to where the back would be split in half, and then the front of the skirt, right, would be front, back, right? And then, so it kind of might split it up that way, so I could at least have the skirt all together as well. But you can see here, I moved the leg to the opposite side to just work with the entire body instead. So I'm trying to get all this into one thing. The other thing I probably would do is I probably would have moved this foot somewhere else. Now I know there's not a lot of room left in here for that, but I might be able to shimmy this stuff somewhere else. And then this whole leg would take up this whole space then. So it'd be basically from top of the shoulders to the bottom of the feet. So this was another way of thinking about how to make the UVs, and then that would make it so that when I texture something from neck to ankle, it's all in the same part of the texture. Because right now, when I texture the character, if I texture from neck to ankle, it goes here, ends here, goes over here, and then goes to the bottom, right? So it's kind of like just a different way of thinking about how to break that stuff up. And you know, like I said, the system we have right now works fine. You know, it's not like it's detrimental or anything. It's just a different way of thinking about how to do the unwraps, right? This is thinking about going from chest to skirt and having that be seamless, right? But I figured if your unwraps are exactly in the correct spot, then this doesn't need to be here technically. It could be wherever, and it'll still be seamless. It'll just, this line would then, for the skirt, would end and then start over here, compared to, then you could texture the character full-bodied as like one full texture from head to toe, right? Which I think would be better. And, you know, if I could find this different spot for the foot, then this would be more texture space as well, which would be good. You know, but again, just a different way of looking at stuff, right? Like I said, I feel like this system functions about as well as it possibly could. You know, is it perfect? No. Does it function to a degree? Absolutely. So that's where it's like, this is just you know, what if we could do something else? Would there have been a better way to do it? You know, but I think overall, like I said, this system works pretty damn well. So. does make me wonder what the old EverQuest devs had to work with back in the day. I'll tell you what, it wasn't. It's probably way worse. You know, I mean, especially for back in the day, a lot of your UV, like we use like 3D coat nowadays, which is like that lets you projection paint your textures. Back in the day, they didn't have that. You had to hand paint those seams out in Photoshop, and so you would like paint this seam, right? And if this was like asymmetrical, right? So if I duplicate this hair and had it over here, I have this seam that runs down the center. I'd have to paint it two-dimensionally, check it, save it, jump over into my file, do a visual render to make sure that I didn't mess up the edge. And then if I did, I had to jump back to Photoshop, paint it out some more, right? Like, it was a pain in the ass. Let's just put it that way. We've got it way easier now. And the systems, you know, now we've had years and years and years to develop, like, what is the best standards and practices? Like, EverQuest was blazing a trail. They didn't know what they were doing. They were kind of making it up as they were going along, right? You know, they were all knowledgeable developers to be able to do it, and they're like, this is the way I think it should be. But now we've had 25, 30 years of developing art for video games, specifically MMOs, and now we do have, like, this is the best practice for this, right? We've had all these examples in the past of what has and has not worked. And then we can, like our project, we can pull from that and start applying that into our stuff, right? And that's kind of like the cool part. That's what I always dig about doing this stuff. It's kind of one of the reasons why I was looking at those unwraps, because it's like, okay, I took a look at the way that Blizzard does their character unwraps, and now I've seen kind of how, EverQuest did their unwraps, and I've seen how we're doing our unwraps, and like kind of going, okay, well, what is there anything we could have done differently? And just seeing like what would have been the other changes that I could have made. I mean, again, it's already too late in the game. There's nothing I can do about those unwraps, right? Like, what we have chosen is what it'll be. To go back through and change 8 races worth of unwraps, change all of the armor that we've made so far, right? Change all, like, we would have to rearrange all that stuff, make all the new masking and stuff for it, and then re-implement everything would just be no point. It's impossible, right? Like, the cake is already baked. That's the thing, especially on the character side, right? The decisions made long ago are the ones that we are, I don't want to say stuck with, but that we have, right? So now we just have to work inside of those constraints. So. But luckily we've got amazing tools like 3D Coat and that sort of stuff, and that'll make it look a lot better. So. Gonna have to wait. No, I mean, even with an expansion pack, right? Like, unless we were redoing all the character races, which I highly doubt we would ever do in life. Yeah, it'll always be this way. So, because there's no way you could be like, yeah, we'll just do an expansion pack and redo everything. That wouldn't be a thing. Maybe if we do so amazingly well and the game turns out so good and we decide to do a new MMO, we can make some different choices then for sure. But, yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with like WoW, right? For a long time they did their characters in a certain way and all that sort of stuff. And then they literally had to go back through and how long has it been? And now they've finally started redoing all the character art in the game, but that was like, it took 20 years to be able to get to that point. That's about where we're at right now. It'll be a while before we ever make changes. Now we can update stuff like textures and things, sure, that's easy. If character faces and stuff aren't like quite hitting quality targets and that sort of deal, we can make some adjustments there. But that's easy, but changing the unwraps, nah. So you're saying it's not impossible? I mean, it isn't, right? Like, hey, if we want to spend like 8 months redoing all the character work, sure, we can do that. You know, I think it would take about, with what we have now, all of the armor sets, all of the character work that we'd have to change, right? It'd probably be about 8 months worth of work, roughly. And that's before we start adding any more character races. You know, the problem is the more character races we make, the more we have to change all their unwraps, right? And it's just kind of a compounding situation. The more armor sets we make, right? Every armor set we make would be another one that we would have to change. So the struggle is it's just a compounding issue, right? So, I mean, for doing a refactor. Especially at one of that magnitude. Again, it's just so much work. Hey, Sarenth. What's up, Nick? Yeah, I had to do a bunch of adjustments on my elf and stuff, but I got some feedback on them, so and I do a bunch of adjustments, but then that mucks up all of my unwraps. So I got to go through and fix all of my unwraps now, and then I can start doing texturing. That'll be good. What does it mean when I'm doing UV mapping? So UV mapping is, UV stands for, it's unwrapping, basically. The U in V stands for, instead of it being XYZ space, you have horizontal and vertical. And so that's what the C and the V stand for, or the U and the V stand for, so that's why it's called unwrapping, or the UV unwraps. The reason why it's called unwrapping is because if you think about like how, like if you think of a model like just a box, like, and you're gonna wrap it for like Christmas time or a gift, right? You have to take a piece of paper and turn it into a three-dimensional shape, right? Which is basically you're wrapping the paper around a box. Well, this is as if you've already made the box, right? You already have the box wrapped, and then you're gonna take the wrapping paper off and lay it as flat as you can get it, so that way you can draw on it, right? So it's like you've already pre-wrapped the box, but the paper is blank. That's the best way I can kind of explain how UV mapping works, right? Because you're basically taking this three-dimensional object and then needing to make it two-dimensional, so that way I can paint on it. If that makes sense. I'll also probably talk about it a little bit more after the ads. So, but yeah, that's kind of how unwrapping works. Is like you have this three-dimensional shape. It's like a box. It's a cube, and then right now my piece of paper is blank. Right? There's nothing on it. Right? Let's just say I've got nothing here. Right? And I want to paint. I want to draw on that box and that wrapping paper. Oh, it's just called texturing. So let's say once I'm done with all these UVW maps, right? I've got my packages all laid out really, really flat. My piece of paper is all laid out really, really nice, right? And then I want to start putting textures on it. That's just straight up called texturing. And then the way that you kind of like can look at that is like that's basically, the style at which we're doing is called hand painting. So I'm hand painting the textures. So, but if we were doing like next gen stuff, then I would do what's called physically based rendering, or PBR. And PBR is where I can kind of procedurally generate like shine and scratches and damage, and I can make metalness and roughness maps and all that sort of jazz, right? And then the engine takes all that data, that I can paint in on like Substance Painter, and then that bakes that out into multiple maps that get slotted onto the character, and that's what tells like, hey, this shoulder pad is made of metal. And it's very, very shiny because there's two texture maps that are calling. One's called a metalness map, one's called a roughness map, right? And when those get called on top of each other, it makes the object look like it's metal, and it makes it look like it's shiny, right? And then the diffuse map, the base map, has all the color on it, so it's got the grays and the scratches painted in and all that sort of stuff. And then for like next gen stuff, if you're going to do like normal maps and stuff, then you would call it a normal map, which we get into sculpting and all that sort of stuff, which just it's just adding more and more complexity into how the characters get generated, right? Is basically how that kind of works. How much time are we saving by doing graphics in the MMO way versus AAA games being done today? How much longer would a model take percentage-wise? Well, I don't know about percentage, but you basically, for every model that I would ever make, you would just plus 1 week onto that. So if this takes me 1 week, right, to make all this, it would take me 2 weeks to do a high resolution. I mean, and if I were doing a AAA, I mean, a character could take, like right now, I've basically, in the last 3 days, I'll have started in working on the character, like the textures. Like I figure out tonight, I probably might even get into working on the textures. But in about 3 days, I've gotten the Dark Elf characters pretty much modeled. They're almost unwrapped, and then I'll be starting in on textures. I would still be just working on. I'd be only on day 3 of the sculpt out of probably a 5 to 7 day sculpt, and then I still have to do the low poly retopology. So that's building a low poly mesh for the high poly to bake all that information from. Then I'd need to unwrap it. Then I need to start PBR texturing it. So it can take up to about a month to do a character. A character. That's not male and female. That's a singular character. So it would be about a month to do one. Now it could be a little bit faster depending on the detail that we were going for, but like if we're doing AAA, yeah, about a month. And I wouldn't even be doing the hair. Like we would have a specific hair artist for the hair. So we would have somebody specifically just doing hair in AAA. Because hair just takes way too freaking long, man. I could spend a month just doing working on a hair. Because when I worked on my character recently, like I was working on kind of like a next gen character, it took almost a month of just working on the hair alone to get that to look even, and that was even to get it to look okay. Like I don't even think it looks amazing. It looks okay. So yeah, we definitely would then need a hair artist specifically just working on that for characters. Absolutely. So yeah, I would say it's immensely faster. I don't know, I can't give you an exact percent, but it's on orders of magnitude faster, sure. Takes a little longer and longer to develop to get technical, but yeah, well, exactly. The more complex you make a thing, the more challenging it becomes and longer it takes to make, right? That's just how it is. You want it to look super lifelike and realistic and all that sort of shit? Well, then you're going to be spending, like I said, it's going to be at least at a minimum a month for a super high-end character. AAA, you know, the maximum you can go. It takes about a month to do it, you know. And that's just a rough estimation. Again, it really comes down to your skill set, how fast you are at making things. If you screw anything up and you're like, oh shit, I made this incorrectly, or oh no, you know, like I messed this up and I have to redo that. It's like, okay, well, add another week, you know, like add another 4 to 5 days, right? I mean, I've got huge admiration for people that are working on next gen stuff because it's just, I mean, and I still am trying to get into some, you know, like I'm working my portfolio on some of that, but it's just so hard. Like that it takes so long, you know, and it'd be so cool to work on a project to be able to like build up my skill set so that it didn't feel like it took a super long time. Because I mean, I'm sure there are artists that are like, I can get a sculpt done in like 2 days, right? That's no big deal. But I'm not at that skill level yet. It takes me a week. It takes me about 7 days to do a full sculpt of a character. And again, it really comes down to the complexity of it too. You know, that's why it's hard to give like a really pure timetable for that kind of stuff. But so yeah, if I can finish these 2 characters in like a week, and I save myself 2 weeks worth of work, you know, that gives you at least kind of a, like if we were kind of going with just generic numbers and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, it takes me about this long to do this and that long to do that. I mean, like, again, I'm gonna finish both characters, right? Like, this isn't just doing one thing, right? When I'm texturing both characters, I'll be texturing both, you know. I think in totality to do both characters, it'll take me about 2 weeks probably. So, you know, I'm saving 5 weeks worth of work, 4 weeks worth of work, 4 weeks worth of work, additional work. By just doing low poly hand painted stuff. But again, I'm also kind of quick at doing this kind of stuff. So, you know, mileage might vary per artist. It's a good trade-off, I think. I mean, yeah. I mean, a lot of people want us to be doing next gen, but I do feel like if we did more like Valheim style stuff, maybe people would be a little bit more cool with it. You know? Like, I can generate normal maps and metalness and roughness maps off of all the stuff that we're doing now, and we could have that into the game, right? And that doesn't take much more effort. It's like 20 minutes worth of work, and I can get a pretty basic normal map. I mean, it's not anything to write home about, but it at least gets the job done, you know? And then my metalness and roughness maps don't take any time at all, because we're painting everything in grayscale, right? Like, super easy. Like, really quick to do that sort of shit. Because I ended up doing a little... And again, I didn't really crank up the metalness and roughness map, but I kind of did a little thing with the weapons. And I made like some really basic metalness and roughness maps for him and just threw them in Marmoset to check them out. Where is it? Studio work. Weapons, did I put it in here? I'm pretty sure I should have put it in here. Alright, one sec. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So I did this little test here where you can see like there's some shine on the shield and stuff, but it's very limited at where that exists. And there's like a little bit along these edges and stuff. You know, you can also see it here. You can see like just a little bit of glinting here in the top. But again, it's not much, right? It's in these select fields where the highlights are the most highlighted, and then everything else is basically very flat, right? So like I still tried to respect the flat nature of the weapons that we want to have while also trying to push shininess where there's like actual shine spots, but that's the only spot that would ever be shiny, right? So it's kind of one of those things where I was just trying to do a little bit of testing. These also have normal maps on them too, so there's a little bit of depth going on here. Again, it's kind of cranked a little bit down. You can see a lot of it right here, like in the blade, where there's kind of like these little edges and chips and stuff. That's all like actually has height data and stuff to it, so. But that was kind of just a little test that I did. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that was kind of one of the things where I just kind of wanted to see, could I do, like metalness and roughness map textures to where they're not really like in your face, but they still exist and possibly could give us a little bit more like oomph to our textures. I think it turned out good. I'd want to see it more in engine. It would need more testing after that too, but I'm not 100% sure. You know, I mean, we have decision makers that are very dead set on not having any metalness and roughness, right? So it's kind of hard to kind of push for that stuff. But I think if we did it very sparingly, you know, we could pull a little bit more depth out of things, you know. But again, that really comes down to, is that what we want? So. And again, I did not push those very far either. Like, I could have really cranked that up to like 11. And it was kind of like, well, I want to crank it up too far, because then it might not look, you know, people might not take to it. So I was still being a little bit safe on that too. You know, I probably could have cranked the normal maps up maybe just a little bit more to try to just get a little bit more oomph out of that, but... get back working on Quest for Sub? Yeah, for sure. Not a problem. Yeah, like this is one of the areas I would have modified some of the textile density. Is this section, this little 3 section right here is a little bit too textile dense. And so really what you'd want to do is push all this stuff upward, you know? So like we lost a lot of textile density down here in the legs, but what we really should have done was more like this. And really the belts and the chests and stuff should all be up here. So all of this stuff should have been moved up about this far. You can see how it's turning blue? That's what we want. We want blue. Now this is all textile dense the same. We gain all of this for the legs and stuff could come down further, right? Because we'd gain for this. If you put your legs over here, and then we can modify. So that's kind of one of those things where it's like, if it would have gotten checked to begin with, we'd be in great shape, but it is what it is. I can't wait to start making armor sets for these characters, though. That's going to be super fun. They're going to look good. Let's see. Okay, so I should be able to collapse everything now for the female. So let's go out of object mode. Yay. And I can just accept all these. Apply. Ooh, yeah, no, I want to apply it. Good, apply. Show my shawl. Yep, everything looks good there now. Alrighty, we can apply that. And I'm pretty sure everything with the skirt was good. I'm gonna just double check that one more time. Oh yeah, okay, we're good. Yeah, we're ready to go. All right, let's apply that too. All right, so now nothing is mirrored. Everything is asymmetrical. Now I need to go through. I'll just start out with the. Yeah, we'll do the body. All right, so we'll do the head first because that's quick. Alright, now we see face. Alright, so our face should be good. And I think that should be mirrored already, so I think we should be good there too. Just make sure that we're down the center. Oop, and that could get shimmied over just a smidgen. There we go. Now we're dead centered. Okay, cool. And we're inside the borders there. All this is good. I'm actually gonna go like that and make sure that's capped. Ooh, actually, you know what I could do? Go. That's a C. That's a C for cross. Cool. All right. I think that should be good. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that looks nice. Wunderbar. All right. So we got our face done, and now let's get the torso done. Okay. So the first thing I'm gonna do is do this one. Oh, no, that's not what I want to select. Oh no, that's asymmetrical, so I don't have to, okay, so all I have to do is the torso. Alright. Boop, like that. And this is a mirror X. Like this. Switch you to the body. go. Alright, so now we should have an asymmetrical. Now I can paint on one side and the other, like she can have one big boob and one little boob, and that's fine. Alright, let's make sure that these are vertical, and then CV. Make sure all this is collapsed. Oh, that's not quite right. So let's do this. We should be good. Alright. And the other thing I want to check is, are you in the middle? Damn close. This is up to the edge, vertical. I want 1 pixel, which that's what it's at, in between. Just for a buffer. Vertical. Oh, perfect. Alright. I think we should be good then. Oh! Oh, no, I just don't have it selected. Okay, man, scared myself. Yeah. Okay, we're good. I just feared. Yeah, we're good. Okay, these are where they need to be then. All right. Okay, so we got that unwrapped. Next is up is brow should be fine because we don't have asymmetrical brows, but it'd be cool if we did. I wonder if I could swing that. Can I swing that? Is it possible? Maybe? Let's see what we got here. Let's jump to... Nah, I'm just gonna leave them symmetrical, even though it is kind of cool that we could do that. I kind of want to see if I would have enough room to do it. No, I wouldn't. Damn it. So no. Asymmetrical brows are off the table. Sorry, everybody. It'd be cool because then you can give somebody like the John Cena furrowed brow or something, you know? Or The Rock, sorry. The Rock furrowed brow. That'd be pretty dope. Okay, what's the last thing I need? I need the shawl. Okay, so we got you. Oh, I need hair. Hair next. All right. Ooh, I don't have that broken up though. Now, I know this is reversed, but... Okay. Mirror X. Alright, and then I want to do... T. Just fit this into the box. Oh, it is backwards. Okay. There we go. Alrighty, and then let's go to the shawl. got some ideas, because this isn't quite right, but I got some thoughts about this. I can do CV. Let's go to shawl. Oh, no. That's wrong. Oh, no, this is the right thing. Okay, I don't want to do that. So I did a bunch of align vertical, align horizontal on these vertexes, because I would like to get them the same when I mirror it. Let's see, what do I want to do here? Yeah, I want to grab these, break U, split selection, mirror X. Okay. Alright, why are you not snapping the way I want you to snap, though, please? Alright, let's see. Center? No. There we go. The snapping in this sucks. Okay. It works good for single single vertices. It does not work good for anything else. Okay, so now should be everything is now one thing. Okay. Now we'll do split selection. Oh no. Oh, I can just move this. That's right, because not everything's selected. Dodoy. The way that this system works is kind of boggles my mind sometimes. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. And then this should be here. Great. Okay, gravy. We got a shawl. All right, and then all that's left is the cape and the cape slash cloak and the skirt. Nope, skirt's done. So all that's left for this one is cape. And then my it's Browse. And so we're going to do the cape, and then I have to do the dude. So I'll have to go through and do all the dude stuff and get that all asymmetrical. And then once all that's good, then we're good. Then we're good. Let's take a look at... I'm just going to switch out this texture really quick to this one. There we go. Now I can kind of see what's going on here. Oh, no. Oh, this button needs to be object mode. Nope, it doesn't. Nope, it does. Now this is one I haven't cleaned up yet, so... As a matter of fact, I might take a look at a different cloak too. Let's see. That would be under. What had like a good cloak? Cloth A? Yeah. Here we go. Oh no, that has a bat. No, that's not what I want. Leather maybe? Nope, that doesn't have it either. That's right. All these cloaks are tiny. That's also tiny. All these cloaks have just been like the most miniature. Let me look at, I think my plate one would probably be the best. There we go. Oh, where the heck are those? I didn't unwrap it. Unfortunate. thing I should do for these cloaks is set up where the neck hole is. We changed how we started doing cloaks, so this is a little bit different. And I forgot we changed those elements, so bear with me here while I fit all this into the spots where it needs to be. So it's kind of cool, the way we did the cloaks is that the cloaks are just solid geometry, right, that kind of fit around, like we modeled out the area around like the neck so that way like it's supported by the character's geometry, right, but then we filled in the top so that way we can alpha out the loop of the cloak, and so that way it like it'll always look like your head's sticking through it instead of like, we kept having to mess with like the edges over and over and over again. And this was just such an elegant solution to make this work. And then if we get it to fit like all in one, then any cloak will fit on any character like perfectly every time. It's great. Like, again, some of the systems that we have set up have just been fantastic, you know? So it's one of the reasons why it's like, yeah, it's not 100%, but it's pretty damn close to getting, like, it's about as good as you can get it, you know? So cool. that's what happened. I see. I see what happened. Oopsies. Nice. All right. That should be that for the first one. Yeah, we got cloaks. We got, oh, maybe I didn't, did I not get the skirt unwrapped properly? Let's see, I didn't. Stitch. Mirror X. There we go. This is going to be a Mirror X. And then I'm going to stitch these two together, because the next thing I want to do is okay, I think we should be good then. Let's check this with my map. That does say skirt on the front. Let me hide my cape. It says back on the back. That means we're all good. Okay, so I can stitch these two together. Double check to make sure my edges are solid. They are. And, oop, whoops, I'm looking at the wrong friggin' thing. Of course. Body. There we go. Oh yeah, we're great. Gravy. Gravy. Everything's looking good. Oop. Ooh, hello. See, this is why you discount double check stuff. Alright, now we're all aligned. Everything's looking good. Okay, cool. Wunderbar. Well, that's all the UVs for the lady. So that's done. Let's jump over to the duder. Okay, same thing. Let's do body, let's do ears. Alrighty. Oh, that doesn't look good. Doesn't look good either. Make sure all these are together. That's good. That looks good. These are fine. Okay, apparently it was just for that part of the face. Cool. Alright. Okay, so first things first, I want to make sure that this can fit under here all good. Yep. Wonderful. Okay, So that should fit fine underneath his chin. So I don't have to worry about that too badly. I really should make a second box here that says ear. That'd probably be a good idea. Future things. Future things. Okay, so head is good, but I want to make sure my body is good. So let's do that part next. Just checking everything. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do too, really quick, is just save it. Seems like it'd be a good idea. Why lose everything that I just worked on for the last couple hours? Yep, everything looks good here. I didn't do much changes on him, so I think his UVs are not as mucked up as the lady's was. Yeah, everything looks good there. Okay, cool. Okay, so I could collapse. Let's just double check that with the brow as well. Actually, now that I'm here, just making sure. Oh yeah, we're gravy. Okay, we're good. Everything's good there. So I could do the. I can collapse the brow, ears, and body. So let's do that. Oh, brow didn't need it. That's good. Alright, okay. Nope. Ears. Apply, and then body. Body, brow, and ears. Okay, we're good there. Alright. Oop. No, that's right. I want to deselect all these boys. And I need to deselect his arm. Because those are not symmetrical. Alright, cool. So now I can select his head. Oh! Why did it do that? Because it's not split down the center. That's what it is. Okay, so I need to split selection, then move it. Now what happens? Nope, no sir. I should be good. Alright, Mirror X. Turn on my lock. Yep, we're good. There we go. Gravy. Alright. Ears are good. Brow is good. Face is now good. Torso. Actually, I should be doing it like this. Yeah, brother. Okay, so there's just a little bit off here, so I'll fix that really quick. Let's see. Everything else looks good. Except for this. Oh, nope, I actually said some of this. Nope, still have some selected. I don't know what I got. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. Okay, so we got our chest is good, legs are good, arms are good, feet are good. Okay. That'll be on to the next part. So we're good with brow, we're good with body, we're good with ears, we're gotta do hair. Alright. This one's gonna take a little bit, so let's get that out of the way. Does this have to be done with each individual hairstyle as well? Yes, yes, it does. Whenever we make any model of any particular import, we have to do all this stuff. Let's see, some hair. Every model ever made that goes into our game has to be UVW mapped, it has to be modeled, UVW mapped, and then all packed together so that way it works. Why am I, oh yeah, there's gonna be a missing section here. Ooh, where's his ponytail? Oh shit. Uh-oh. Oh, ruh-roh, where are you? Oh, are you all this for? Aha. Alrighty, so I'm gonna pin all this into place so it doesn't get auto unwrapped. And then this needs a seam cut into it. An inconspicuous location. What is happening? Whoa. Why are you doing this? Oh, you're just snapping it into position now for me. Okay, that's weird. I've never seen that do that before, but sure. Sure. Whatever you want, man. Oh shit. Was more of a donkey tail, just saying. Donkus. The donkus. Oh, that's the wrong button. C. Alrighty, that should be good. And now I'm gonna unfreeze all of you. Unpin. Now if I move this, you're gonna freak out? No, okay, good. CB. Alright, that should be good. feel like I can unwrap this better. I just have to figure out how I'm gonna attain what I want to do. Okay, I think I got it. Let's do this. Oh, no. Ensure Shrek gif. See. getting there. It's looking good. Okay. This is better. Let's see. Vertical, and then I want that. Okay, so if I've got this back end stuff now. If I stitch this, is it gonna freak out is the question. Let's try it. I'm pretty sure it will, because it's Blender. Max wouldn't give a shit. It would just weld it. Apparently it just doesn't work at all. Cool. Let's see. I have to... Oh, I have to have both of them selected. Okay, I see what's going on here. How do I want to handle that? Let's see. So if I scale these in. this alliance to this, and then this is this, and then this is this. I'm pretty sure. Right? Yes, it is. Alright, I am right. So we're just gonna unwrap this now. Getting so much bigger. It makes no sense. Yeah, sure, totally. That that's how that works. That's how unwrapping things similarly is supposed to be. Fuck is this? Starting to feel like I should have kept this symmetrical. I will say this, I do heavily dislike the unwrapping tools in Blender. I would have thought they would have been, with this much time and like to develop them and being its own program, I literally would have thought they would have been stronger than this, but these unwrap tools are pretty weak. glad that's doing none of the things that I thought it would do. Oh, there we go. For some reason it was doing that. Weird. Whoop, that's not where that goes at all. Huh, unfortunate. Oh wait, I think I need to do one more ring on this too. Oh no, that'd be the shawl. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I need one more on the shawl. I need to bring it down one more tier, one more rung. My shawl's a little bit short on these dudes. All right. Time we got 11 o'clock. What is happening? Alright. Unwrap you inside of the box that I made. Oh, goodness. Let's turn off that old shawl arena right now. Here we go. That's not right. Let's see. So let's do the. No, I should do this. No, I should do this. And then I grab all of you, and I do this. Okay. Why is it so inconsistent? I don't understand. What is happening? I need to like exercise the fucking demons on this thing. Jesus. Holy shee. Deus Maximus. Although this is a little bit funky, so what's going on here? Bedtime calling early? Sounds good, man. Thanks for hanging out, Ziggin. Is this powder in him? Oh, it's in him. Interesting. Well, I think that looks fine. Okay. I think I'm good there. Okay, so we got a cloak. So we got some good shape. Shawl. And then this. I need to bring that down one rung. I'm almost done. It's so nice. Then we can start texturing probably tomorrow, sadly. I won't get to that tonight, but at least the characters will be ready to go to start slapping some paint on them. Actually, is he? Nope, yep, one more rung down. Okay. need to add an extra cut in on the cloak for the shawl cut that's right here. I wasn't calculating for that to be a thing, but for the cloth to work properly, I'm betting that you need to have the exact same thing. So I'll add that in here in a moment. Everything else is looking alright. Need another cut in there for sure, and then I gotta fix the cloak slightly. Alrighty, so that's good, and then I want to do one connect right there. Alright, so now that should rotate correctly. The other thing I'm going to do here is on my shawl. Just the shawl, right? I'm pretty sure. So let's object mode. Actually, before we go object mode, let's do this first. This is going to be all screwed up, so... There we go. Now... That's not splitting the selection, dude. Oh, for fuck's sake. Goodness gracious, man. Thought there was something. Couldn't see it right away. Fucker. Oh, missed him. What's up, dog? I'm doing good, man. Almost done with these frickin' deep elves, so that's exciting. I can start doing the textures for them. So almost done with all the unwrapping. It's a lot of... Unwrapping is sorting through a lot of ham and then fitting it into all these different packages. So almost done with this guy. You get to work anymore on some models or anything? Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Of course it would. Oh, you made a helmet? Hell yeah. Nice. That's sick. Pretty happy with it. Oh yeah, it's always hard being a perfectionist with like modeling and stuff because yeah, you can really noodle on models like for an infinity amount of time. You know, that makes it really hard to like, yep, I'm done, right? But the more models you do and stuff, the easier it is to go, yeah, I'm done with it, right? Like you're saying, it's like, I can be happy with this, right? You know, it takes a little while to get used to being able to call it quits and move into the next thing, right? Oh, my mic is barely picking me up? Well, shit. Oh, that's unfortunate. Let's see what's going on there. Maybe it's the wrong mic, you never know. Let me take a look. That's all good. Oh, it does have me at 56% here. I'm gonna turn this up, so you can let me know when it's good. I'm gonna put this up to 100, and then hopefully I'm not killing you guys. I'm gonna put it at 90. Is 90 good? Is this good? For some reason my mic got turned down to 50%, so not sure why. I don't know what that face means, if it's too loud or not. I'll turn it down a little bit more. There we go. Is that a little bit better? Trying to make some new stuff. 90 was great. Okay. Maybe 89. All right. Put it 85 or something like that. There we go. All right. Hopefully that's better. Sorry about that. I haven't really said anything at all anyway tonight, so nobody missed anything if my audio was not right. I didn't have anything important to say. It's all good. Back to 90? Okay, fine. Where was that? Where's my sound settings? There we go. Alright, back to 90 it is. Alright, that's 90. How you doing? What's new with you? Excited for the stress test? Yeah, I mean, like, any dad stuff state? No, my dad's back home actually in Wisconsin right now. He's doing family stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm doing good. I'm almost got these models done here, so that's good. Getting these dark elves wrapped up. I ended up getting the crafted plate needed a facelift, like the armor, like the paint job on it and just the design and everything. Just needed to get like tuned up a little bit more. So I went ahead and did that a couple of days back and it turned out really good. So the only issue is I don't know if we'll get, I might have to ask Zukin if we can fit it in by the time we get there, but getting the helmets all done for that would be good because I updated the helmets and stuff even for it. So taking a look at that real quick and seeing if we could get that out the door would probably be good. Because otherwise everybody's gonna go, hey, I crafted my plate helmet and there's no helmet. It's a bug. It's like, well, we updated the models and textures for it, so probably don't worry about that. Everybody's complaining about the graphics, so let's update the graphics a little bit more. Not sure if it's been discussed, but are the Deep Elves the only race coming with the first module, or can we expect to see Deep Gnomes and Dwarves? I mean, we're working on module, like, stuff for Module 1, as well as, you know, cleaning up stuff for current module. So like we're trying to stay ahead of module 1. So hopefully like I'm just throwing out just a random number, but like let's say we work on module 1 for 6 months or whatever, right? And then we get done with that, we would roll on to the next module prior to that module 1 rolling out, right? So we would want to get off of working on that stuff and start on the next module before, because that way it keeps us kind of like ahead of the ball instead of like having to crunch and rush and try to get stuff together. So that would be ideal. The question is like, how much time are we going to have prior to module 1 launching? I would assume that we would at least have deep gnomes in. I know there's some pretty hefty design considerations that we have to still figure out for deep dwarves, because their design steps so far outside of like a normal humanoid mold that like I probably have to do some pretty hefty testing to see what it is we need to do to make them work with our current like slate of characters and stuff. You know, does that make sense? Like they're so unique and weird that we would have to really do a lot of testing to make sure like armor works on them. So, or that we would be making the armor properly so that it does accommodate them correctly, right? So that'll be the hard part. As for trolls, I don't know. I haven't seen anything slated for them. I don't know when they'd be coming online or when that would be. And I'm not sure if dwarves would be part of module 1 or not. I'm not in tuned enough with the higher ups to know what the absolute plan is for that, right? I'm kind of more of a, hey Zach, this needs to get out the door. Can you get this? You know, kind of stuff. What am I working on this week? What am I working on next week, right? So as a matter of fact, the next thing I'm working on is an armor set again. Like, it seems like they really want me to do armor sets because I can knock them out pretty quickly. So okay, it's not looking too bad. There's a little bit of stretching on here, but I'm not sure exactly how I clean that up. I guess that works. Oh, it's this one. Dodoy. Of course. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I mean, and then if we've got deep dwarves, we've got the deep gnomes and the deep elves, right? All that's really left on the list is high elves and then trolls, right? That's pretty much it so far for the character. Then we would be in good shape. You know, I've really been in heavy talks where it's like, yes, we're doing these races and stuff, and that's super nice, but we do really, really need to get more, like, hair options for each group. We need to get the faces polished up for each group, you know, like race type and stuff. So I've been really trying to, like, push the drum on that because I did the math calculation for like how long it takes to do, like, because it takes me about a day to do a face, right? To like hand paint a face roughly, you know. Some can be faster or a little bit slower even, right? So I was trying to average that out, you know. And so I was just telling Zook, and it's kind of like, yo, you know, let's just say it roughly takes you a day to do a face, and that's for me. And we have 6 faces per group, right? I think we did the math calculation out at a day per face. So there's like 80 days worth of faces that need to get done if we're gonna do 6 per race type, right? Because it's male and female, right? So it's like, we need 80 days to do that. That's like 2 months worth of work there. You know what I mean? That's a lot of time just for character customization for faces only, you know? And then I was like, well, how many hairstyles do we want to have for them? You know? And that's like, oh, well, we want to have 6 per. That's another 80. So right now, for customization options, we have over 4 months worth of stuff that we still need to do. You know? And let's see. It's June right now. It would be July, August, September. But if I started now, I'd be done in October. Ooh, that's the wrong one. Does that get dry? Do you mean dry like boring? Like, I like doing the customization stuff, so for me, no, it doesn't really get like overly boring for me. I mean, the faces are the funnest part, right? In my opinion. So for me, it would be like a boatload of fun. Like, that's the part I love doing the most. This stuff for like making the race characters and stuff, and now I'm gonna paint them and then doing faces and stuff. Oh, dude, the faces are the best part. Yeah, I could sit and just paint those all day long. Like, I have no problems with that. Actually, what does get dry is I've been doing like boatloads of armor, right? That's gotten pretty dry for me. Just because it's so much. And the thing that makes it so hard is, like, with the faces, right? I can do the face, and okay, so let's say it just takes me 4 hours or 5 hours to do a face. Like, I'm way more intrigued in doing that sort of stuff, right? A, that's the part I find most fun, but B, once I'm done with that, I can move along. The armor is, I get done with one piece, then there's another layer, and I have to do more pieces, and then there's another layer on top of that, and then there's more pieces. So it's like I'm continually like, it's progressing and being generated, but I'm continually stuck on the same thing for like at least a week. you know. So with a face, I can just get done with the face and move to the next face, right? And that's cool. So yeah, for me, that's I've always been a character guy. Like I prefer doing character stuff. So yeah, that'll be the fun part for sure. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is like it's I have to make an undershirt and then I have to paint this full undershirt. Then I have to make the armor on top of that undershirt, you know, and then I have to make like a belt on top of that and I have to make bracers on top of that and gloves and boots and all these. It's just layers and layers and layers of things, and that's I mean to me, while it's like I'll do it, you know, it's I always equate it like this, like you have to eat the vegetables to get to the dessert, right? So like I'm good at eating the vegetables, right? I'm fine with it. I'll grin and bear it and just eat all the vegetables I need. If there's 100 more armor sets that I have to do, I'll do 100 more armor sets, right? You know, I was talking to Sean the other day, and he's like, "Dude, you are an absolute just machine." Because like, I grind through stuff even if I don't want to work on it, right? And it's just like that's kind of just my personality is just persevere through stuff that I don't like, right? So that makes it like very workhorse mentality, where it's just like I'll slog through whatever. It doesn't matter. I won't complain about it. I won't be upset about it, right? I'm here to get the job done. So like you need to task me with stuff. I need to make 80 faces. If I start hate working on them, I'll make more of them, right? It does not matter. Like as long as I get to make artwork, I'm pretty happy. So I have preferences of stuff that I like to work on, but you know, having to work on 80 faces or 100 armor sets or whatever, I'll do whatever we need doing. Oh, you're a parole officer for 17 years? Dang. Oh, for sure. No, absolutely. It's kind of one of the reasons I hope that this gig like pans out, because yeah, I this is the stuff I love doing, and I'd be very sad not being able to do it and having to do something else, because I love making artwork. That's my this is like my favorite thing to do, you know. I turned the thing that is my passion into my job, right? And so, you know, when you do that, you know, they always say that adage, well, if you enjoy what what you're working on, then you're never working a day in your life, right? That adage is very true to this stuff. You know, it can be very complicated. It can be very stressful when you have to make deadlines and stuff, right? But I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like I just like to make artwork. If I had to work like a regular 9 to 5 job, I just don't know what I'd do with myself. I have to create. That's the thing. Is like I couldn't just sit there and like answer phones all day. It would be way too difficult. I'd have to be sitting there like drawing 24/7 while I'm answering phones and shit, you know, because, you know, I have just that creative urge, and if I don't create, then that's what makes me unhappy. Huh, I wonder if I needed that edge there. Oh, I do. Okay, never mind. Do I, though? That feels unnecessary. Oh, I do. I see what's going on there. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, what was I doing? I don't know why I did that. All right, well, we'll fix that on everything then. Where's my cape? Oh yeah, I have to fix this on all of them. Oh, God damn it. That's right, I forgot. I collapsed everything off a mirror. That's fine. We will fix. Yeah, I don't know why I made that weird cut right there. So odd. Let's see. Let's jump back over to my shawl. Okay. Oh, that looks good now. Yeah, that's weird. I added in just a really strange cut there for no reason whatsoever. Oh. Yeah, that's what I thought happened. Damn it. I think it's because I had that option setting set. That means a bunch of other stuff's going to be borked too. Let's see, cape. Luckily, it was just one set of birds. It's really not that bad. Yep, breaking things. Breaking the law. Breaking the law. Collapse all these birds together. Making sure that nothing's messed up. There we go. Hit these with the old unwrapper. Yeah, see? Some of these are not welded. I don't know why it de-welds my verts. Whatever, Blender. I don't care. I'm over it. Alright, on to this. Oh yeah, I need to make this see-through and select the whole thing. CB, collapse that, collapse this. And that should be all I need. Yeah, okay. Cool. Right? Am I crazy? Oh, no, it's these ones too. Make sure that those are collapsed. And then I want to bring these upward and button. So let me do object mode, object, show hide, item selected. Go into this mode. Yeah, I think we're okay. Yeah, all this looks good. Okay. All right. Cool. Yep, everything looks gravy. Oh yeah, I should do this too. Unpin. Why is that wigging out? Why is that wigging out? That's a good question. I think it's because this. Nope, that's not it. Okay, sure. Something's going on there. Whatever. And that's for the head, right? Yep, okay, cool. Alright, well, that fixed all that. So back to the shawl. Object mode, and then show hide, show hidden. Oh. Okay, that'll just be my dude. Oh. No, just the shawl, please. Okay. So I think we're in good shape there. I'm gonna split this out then. So this is ready to go. I think we'll be ready for texture tomorrow then, which is cool. So I'll start doing body textures and stuff for the male and female because I can export them out together. And they'll have their own texture sets and stuff. I believe I got those all set up. So I'll have to double check all my textures applied, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, O2, O2. Oh wait, no, is this just because I'm still in edit mode? 0, 1, 0, 1. That's a 2 for cape, yup. 1 for ears, yup. 1 for hair, yes. O2 and 00, and then on the female it should be, oh, that should be OF. Nope, that's not right. I need to make an additional one of those, don't I? Yes, I do. Okay. Oh no, that should be, nope, yep, I do. How do I want to do that? I want to do, can I duplicate this? Can't do that there. Let's see, add material slot, no. Here we go. Oh, no, it's a new material. That's unlink. I guess I have to do new. I thought there was a way for me to duplicate that guy. Oh, so it does make a new one. Alright, cool. So I got 00, 00F for female, 01, 01F for female, 02, 02F for female. Okay, so her skirt, her shawl, 2F, yep, and her cape should be 2F. Nope, yep, that needs to be this one. There we go. I mean, it won't really matter for the shawl and the, I guess that doesn't really matter. So this can be 2. Her cape and her shawl should just be this, 02. Her skirt needs to be, that needs to be 00F, that needs to be 01F. Okay, so FF2, that's 01, oh no, that should be 00F, that should be 01F, ears are 00F, 01F, cape is 02, brow 00F, and then that's a 1F, and then body, there we go. Okay, so now we're good on that, and then this should just be regulars. Let's see, skirt 00, cool. 02, 01. Actually, I should probably clean that up on this one too, because like this is 2, This should only be 1, which I think is... Let's see, what did I have for this one? Oh, this one has 2 as well. Ugh. Actually, I can see it. It's right up here in my guides. Guide 01, so it'll only be a 1. So it doesn't need a 00 on the brow, so I can remove that. Body needs the 2. Cape just needs the 1. Ears just needs the 1. Yep. Hair just needs 1. Shawl needs 2. Skirt needs 0. Okay. That's correct. That needs to be... This is brow, so it's 01. Cape is 2. Ears are 1. Hair is 1. Shawl is 2. Skirt is 0s. Remove 1. There we go. Cool. And then I have to name all. What did I just do? Damn it. I moved something, turned off my monitor. Hopefully that turns back on. There we go. Stupid cable got bumped. Still breaking things. Let's see. F, body. I hate that I have to rename these twice. It's like, oh, there's a submodel in this group. That's stupid. Okay. Oop. Brow. Cape. Ears. Hair. Shawl and skirt. Okay, cool. Got that done. You know what? I think I'm gonna save it. I feel like saving. There we go. And now I need, oh, yeah, Alpha M shawl. Go to edit mode. This needs to go to O2. Boom. Okay, I think I already classed this, right? No, I have not. So, back to object mode. Apply. Edit mode. I would like to mirror. about no? Okay, that should be pretty good. Okay. Cool. All right, that is almost everything. Oh no, brow is mirrored. Yeah. That is hey, we got it done. It only took, let's see, I started at what, like 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 hours of unwrapping and getting those set up. So there you go. And I had worked on it a little bit earlier, but dang. All right. It literally was to do the unwrap, I think 2 days worth of work, roughly. So that's cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I think that's going to do it for me for today. So I know that I'll be jumping in and doing some stuff tomorrow for sure. I wonder if, can I move all this? No, I can't. I have to, let's see. Can I just select all of them? There we go. Okay. There we go. So we got our male and female dark elves. They're all ready to go. So I'll be doing texturing and stuff and starting that tomorrow. So, but yeah, I think they should come along pretty quickly. I don't know if any of y'all have seen the concepts yet or anything, but these are the concepts for them. So that's what I'm going to be jamming out with. Although they'll be not having any clothes really, except for their undies. So I'll be making that. But yeah, appreciate it. Well, thank you everybody for stopping by and watching me do some artwork and making some stuff this evening. I know it was a late night stream for all of y'all, so hopefully you enjoyed that. But thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope I made your evening just a little bit better, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later, everybody.